Good morning. Myself, Professor Prashant. I am now going to explain the Sturm-Liouville problems. Actually, Sturm-Liouville problem is a boundary value problem. That is, suppose we have a second order homogeneous linear differential equation of the form ddx of px dy dx plus qx plus lambda rx into y equal to 0. It's simple. It is seen that it's in the form of self-adjoint second order homogeneous ordinary differential equation. P, Q, and R. This function is such that the solution of the differential equation exists and the solution be maybe it's unique. To satisfy the existence and uniqueness conditions of the solutions of this differential equation, we need some restrictions on P, Q, and R. So P has a continuous derivative, Q and R are continuous. We also assume that P and R both greater than 0 for all x on the interval AB. On the interval AB, that is at the point A and at the point B, or the boundary conditions are defined, and lambda is a parameter which should be independent of x. Boundary conditions, we know if the condition or conditions of a differential equation is given at one point, then the condition is called initial condition. But if the conditions are given at more than one point, then the conditions are called boundary conditions. Here, as x is defined in the interval, closed interval AB, and the conditions, 12.2 it is seen, conditions are given at 2 points, at the point A and at the point B. So the conditions are boundary conditions. Since 12.1 is a second order ordinary differential equation, so the conditions may contain the value of the dependent variable y and the value of the derivative of the dependent variable y at the point A and at the point B. So here the linear combination of ya and y dash a and yb and y dash b are taken. So ultimately the boundary condition taken is a1ya plus a2y dash a equal to 0, b1yb plus b2y dash b equal to 0, while a1, a2, b1 and b2 belong to R. They are constant. They are real constant. And naturally, a1 and a2 not both 0 at a time. If both a1 and a2 equal to 0, then the condition is given only at the point B. Similarly, if both b1 and b2 will be 0, then the condition is given only at the point A. Since it's a boundary value problem, so the conditions are considered both at A and B with the linear combination of the value of the dependent variable y at the point A, value of the dependent variable y and y dash at the point A and at the point B. So this second order homogeneous self-adjoint ordinary differential equation along with this boundary condition, this type of bounded value problem is called a Sturm-Liouville problem or Sturm-Liouville system. Just example. Suppose we consider a differential equation. It's a very simple differential equation, d2y dx2 plus lambda y equal to 0. And the boundary conditions are y at 0 equal to 0 and y at pi equal to 0. So this is a Sturm-Liouville problem, as it can be written in this form: ddx of 1 into dy dx equal to 0, where p equal to 1, 0 plus lambda into y equal to 0, where 0 is q and r is 1. So p, q, r satisfy all the conditions or all the restrictions of the Sturm-Liouville problem, and hence it's a Sturm-Liouville boundary value problem. Now, how to find the non-trivial solutions of the Sturm-Liouville problem? Suppose we consider the previous problem. So, what is a trivial solution? If you look into 12.5, it can be seen that if we put y equal to 0 in the left hand side, then naturally left hand side will be 0. So y is equal to 0 is the trivial solution of 12.5. But generally in differential equations, we are searching for non-trivial solutions for any homogeneous ordinary differential equation. Trivial solution is 0. So our job is not to stick for the trivial solution, but to find a non-trivial solution. Here, lambda is a parameter, real parameter, real number, parameter, but values are real. So let us assume either lambda equal to 0 or lambda less than 0 or lambda greater than 0. Suppose we start with lambda equal to 0. Then this equation reduces to d2y dx2 equal to 0. And its natural solution is y equal to c1 plus c2x. We have two conditions, y 0 equal to 0 and y pi equal to 0. If we put at x equal to 0, y equal to 0, c1 will be 0. And at next condition, when x equal to pi, then y equal to 0, it gives c2 pi equal to 0 or c2 equal to 0, since pi is non-zero. So if lambda equal to 0, then only the trivial solution exists. Next, suppose lambda less than 0. So if lambda less than 0 of 12, lambda is less than 0 for 12.5, then if lambda equal to minus alpha square, suppose lambda is less than 0 and we write lambda as minus alpha square, then the auxiliary equation will be m square minus alpha square equal to 0 or m equal to plus minus alpha, or solution will be y equal to c1 e to the power alpha x plus c2 e to the power minus alpha x. Using the first boundary condition, putting x equal to 0, y equal to 0, we got c1 plus c2 equal to 0. Putting x equal to pi and y equal to 0, we got c1 e to the power alpha pi plus c2 e to the power minus alpha pi equal to 0. So Now our job is to find C1 and C2 from 12.11 and 12.12. So if we write this as a linear system, it can be written in the matrix form. And naturally, C1 equal to 0 and C2 equal to 0 is a trivial solution of the matrix. So the condition under which the non-trivial solution of the matrix exists is the determinant of the matrix should be equal to 0. Hence the condition is 1, 1 e to the power alpha x e to the power minus alpha x equal to 0. Or e to the power alpha x equal to e to the power minus alpha x. Or alpha equal to 0. So if alpha equal to 0, then lambda equal to 0. So it's not possible to get a trivial solution if lambda less than 0. Now, suppose lambda greater than 0. So the auxiliary equation will be m square plus lambda equal to 0. And solution will be plus minus I root lambda. So the solution will be y equal to c1 sin root lambda x plus c2 cos root lambda x. Similarly, if we use the first boundary condition at x equal to 0, y equal to 0, then sin 0, 0, cos 0, 1, it gives c2 equal to 0. So it will be y sin root lambda x. If we put the second boundary condition, x equal to pi, y equal to 0, then c1 sin root lambda pi equal to 0. Now, in this equation, it can be seen easily that sin root lambda pi is not always positive or negative. It may be 0. So we get the non-zero value of C1 only if sin root lambda into pi equal to 0. We know that sin n pi is 0 if n is a natural number. So the value of lambda for which sin root lambda pi equal to 0 is root lambda equal to n or lambda equal to n square, which is given by 12.16. That is, if lambda equal to 1, we get a non-trivial solution. If lambda equal to 4, we get another non-trivial solution. If lambda equal to 9, we get another non-trivial solution, and so on. But for if lambda equal to 2, we get only trivial solution. Lambda equal to 3, we get another trivial solution, so on. So from that problem, we can conclude something. That if lambda less than equal to 0, the Sturm-Liouville problem does not have a non-trivial solution. If lambda greater than 0, we can have a non-trivial solution only if lambda will be in the form of n square, or n equal to 1, 2, 3, so on. And the solution will be in the form of y equal to cn sin nx. And cn is an arbitrary non-zero constant. So the functions defined by c1 sin x, c2 sin 2x, c3 sin 3x, so on, cn sin nx are non-trivial solutions of the given problem. Characteristic values and characteristic function. For any Sturm-Liouville problem, the values of the parameter lambda for which there exist non-trivial solutions of the problem are called characteristic value of the problem. And the corresponding non-trivial solutions are called the characteristic functions of the problem. That is 1, 4, 9. These are characteristic values, and sine x, sine 2x, sine 4x, so on are characteristic functions. So, what can we conclude for the properties of the characteristic function? For any SL system of this type, we can see, we can watch, we can find out that there exists an infinite number of characteristic values, lambda n, of the given problem. The characteristic values lambda n can be arranged in a monotonic increasing sequence, and when n tends to infinity, lambda n also tends to infinity. Corresponding to every lambda n, there exists a one parameter family of characteristic function phi n. Each of these characteristic functions is defined on the closed interval AB, and any two characteristic functions corresponding to the same characteristic value are non-zero constant multipliers of each other. And another important result is that each characteristic function phi n corresponding to the characteristic value lambda n has exactly n minus 1 zeros of that in the interval AB. That is, the Cn sin nx is the characteristic function corresponding to the characteristic value lambda n equal to n square, and naturally sin nx has n minus 1 zeros in the interval 0 pi. That is, sin nx equal to 0 if nx equal to n pi, or x equal to k pi by n for all values of k. So the zeros which lie in the open interval 0 pi are precisely those for which k equal to 1 to n minus 1. So the each characteristic function Cn sin nx has precisely n minus 1 zeros in the open interval 0 pi. Now we shall study some important properties of characteristic function. First property, what I am going to tell you, the orthogonality. So first, what do we mean by orthogonality? Orthogonal, the term we used in vectors. Initially, we have used in vectors. Two vectors are orthogonal if their inner product is 0. Here, in the same way, we can explain that two functions fx and gx are orthogonal with respect to another function r, which is called the weight function, or sometimes it's called density function. If a to b fx phi fx a to b integration a to b fx into gx into rx equal to 0. Now, if we consider a set of functions phi n equal to 1, 2, 3, it may be an infinite set. Then if for any two different functions, suppose phi m and phi n, the integration a to b phi mx phi nx into rx dx equal to 0 for m not equal to n. That is for any two different function phi m and phi n. If this integration is equal to 0, then the set is called, then the set phi n is orthogonal with respect to the weight function r in the interval, closed interval a b. And one example, we take the same SL system. Here phi nx equal to sin nx is the characteristic function with respect to the characteristic values lambda n equal to n square. And if we check, we can see that if we take two different phi n of the set, one is phi nx and phi mx, and if we take r equal to 1 and we integrate from 0 to pi, it can be seen that this is equal to 0. So for this particular case, the orthogonality is proved. This orthogonality of characteristics function can be proved in general. Suppose this is the standard SL system 12.1 and 12.2. Then we can prove that for this SL system, characteristics functions are orthogonal with respect to the weight function r on the interval AB. The proof is similar to that of the similar type of proof of Sturm theory for self-adjoint operator. So you can look into the proof from the book of Ross. I am teaching this from the book of S.L. Ross. You can go through the book and understand it clearly. The proof is similar to that we have already explained for self-adjoint operators. So now I am not going to explain it here. Now we want to explain one more important thing. One of the most important feature of characteristics function is that any function can be expanded a series of orthonormal functions. I have already discussed orthogonal. Now what is orthonormal? If the orthogonal function is normalized, then it is called orthonormal. What is normal? What do you mean by normalized? If f equal to g, then the integration will be a to b fx square rx into dx. If the value of the integration will be 1, then we call that f is normalized. That instead of taking two different functions inside the integration, if we take the same function and the result will come as 1, then that function is called normalized. And naturally it will be then, instead of orthogonal, it will be orthonormal. It is orthonormal provided also for all other functions of the set. If we take two different functions and do the integration, then it will be 0. If we take same function twice and integrate, it will be 1. So if we take any set phi n equal to 1 to n, and a to b phi mx phi nx rx dx equal to 0 for m not equal to n and equal to 1 for m equal to n, then the whole set is called orthonormal system. So suppose we have a Sturm-Liouville problem. Lambda n be the infinite number of characteristic values of the problem arranged in monotonically increasing sequence, and phi n be corresponding set of orthonormal characteristic function of the given problem. Let f be a function which is continuous on the interval ab, has a piecewise continuous derivative f dot on the closed interval ab, and it's such that fa equal to 0 if phi a equal to 0 and fb equal to 0 if phi b equal to 0. Then the series n equal to 1 to infinity cn phi n, where cn equal to a to b fx phi nx rx dx, or n equal to 1 to 3 converges uniformly and absolutely to f on the interval ab. This is the theorem. So using this theorem, we can expand f as a infinite series of phi n, where phi n are orthonormal functions or characteristic function of a SL system, provided phi f satisfies the condition given in 2. This is called a formal expansion of the function fx. Suppose this is a problem. We want to find out the formal expansion of fx equal to pi x minus x square in the interval 0 pi in the series of orthonormal characteristics function phi n of Sturm-Liouville problem. So it is known that phi nx equal to sin nx. This set is orthogonal. So to make it orthonormal, we find the value of the phi n square. If it is alpha square, then divided it by alpha and we got the orthonormal. Since phi n squared 0 to pi sin square nx dx equal to pi by 2. So dividing by root pi by 2, we get the function root 2 by pi sin nx. This is an orthonormal function. So fx, that is pi x minus x square, can be written as in this form: n equal to 1 to infinity cn into phi nx, when phi nx are given by root 2 by pi sin nx, and cn will be obtained from this particular formula. Cn will be a to b fx into phi nx into rx dx. So putting the value of phi nx and fx and doing the integration as usual, we can find Cn equal to root 2 by pi 4 by n cube if n is odd, and equal to 0 if n is even. So the formal expansion of pi x minus x square will be 8 by pi n equal to 1 to infinity sin 2n minus 1x by 2n minus 1 whole cube, when x lies between 0 to pi. This series also can be written as 8 by pi sin x by 1 cube plus sin 3x by 3 cube plus sin 5x by 5 cube plus so on. So some other problem, you can solve this problem also. And please, these are the exercise. Please solve it yourself. And if any problem, contact me. Thank you.